in the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
Guns will be taken, and no one will be able to be armed. We will take all guns.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
Global governance at last. Is it one world? The central bankers in charge. But aren't we all just living and dying for what the central banks do?
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. I was just getting like 15 people out of here during the break. Ted Nugent is scheduled to be calling in, but there's always time zone issues and things like that. He is on the road going city to city. Notice Ted Nugent is not at the RNC this year because he was not invited. The RNC itself kept him off the list. I don't blame Trump for that. I blame some of the people that, quote, don't want Trump to be too radical. Well, it's radicalism in the face of radicalism that is no vice, to paraphrase Barry Goldwater. At least I plagiarize him here on air. But as they say, stealing is the, at least words and ideas, is the most sincere form of flattery. And I forget who said that. But I'm being a little bit sarcastic now about the fact that they're claiming that Mrs. Trump is engaged in all of that. But what overshadows everything, and what really is the big issue that everyone should be looking at, is that they're trying to have a coup d'etat at Fox. I mean, that really is the big enchilada. This is a big deal, folks. This signals everything Drudge said is dead on. And I know Drudge was legitimate and was really told that, and I've been told similar things, but this shows that that intel he got from that individual and others was accurate. This is the year they're trying to come after free speech. They're not doing too well. And it's blown up their face in Europe as well. But I tell you, very, very exciting to just know that there's patriots here. And I was just talking to John Ronson, who's obviously a famous author and researcher, who was also here while we had Stone in studio. And he was telling me a lot of behind-the-scenes things. And he said, why haven't you talked about the fact that they're chanting Hillary for prison on the delegate floor? And why haven't you talked about the fact that basically people are shouting, you know, stuff from your show? And I said, listen, I know that's going on, but I'm in a war. I got to just move on to the next thing. And when I tell you about the success we're having, it's so you know you're having success. It's because a lot of folks obviously aren't prominent. They're not known. People don't recognize them. So you don't realize that you're not losing, that you're winning. And yes, it is exciting to hear my talking points, my research, my terms, my angles, smashing through the disinformation and being all over mainline talk radio, all over Fox. They're fighting to keep it off CNN, MSNBC. They are scared to death. But listen, I am not the inventor of this. I am not plagiarizing it either. I am enjoying the birthright of a person who wants to be part of the new Renaissance, the system of Americana. Not the problems we've had, but the good things we've had that no one could deny were the best the world ever saw. And I really am just wanting you to know that you are the leadership, you are the resistance. And that's not to make you feel important. It's because that's how we're going to beat these people. There's no way they can shut all of us down. And I tell you, my one big frustration is when I'm out walking on the street, or whether it's Austin, Texas, or Cleveland, Ohio, and there's all these great men and women of every race, color, and creed that want to shake my hand, want to take photos with me, want to talk to me. I'm too busy getting to the next place to fight the globalists to sit there and talk to you. And I tell you, hey, I love you, you're great, I got to go. And so I just want folks to know, because I've run into people before that have had their feelings hurt, that, listen, we're not playing games here. Okay, we are taking action. Okay, and when you look at somebody like Ted Nugent, or you look at somebody like Nigel Farage, or you look at somebody like Donald Trump, or you look at somebody like Matt Drudge, these are people that are putting everything on the line because they don't want to be slaves. These are people that are defending this republic, and it's that spirit they're trying to extinguish because it's that spirit that'll bring them down. And Ted Nugent is now on the line. Of course, the Motor City madman. This is the guy who carries the mantle in the United States now, basically, of Chuck Heston and the Second Amendment, and I would say he absolutely fills those shoes and more. I am very honored to be seen as a staunch defender, and I am, of course, of the Second Amendment. But I tell you, we need more of these prominent leaders to get even more hardcore, because it's Ted Nugent's no-nonsense, in their face that has helped us realize we're under attack. He's raised the alarm. So joining us is a true modern Paul Revere. Ted Nugent, thanks for coming on with us.
Well, thanks, Alice. I appreciate those kind words. I bring you self-evident truth and common sense and logic from the not-so-mean streets of America, traveling all across this country as I have for the last 50 years. And what Alex Jones represents, what Ted Nugent represents, is not alone. It really is the heart and soul of this country, and I see and hear it, feel it, and celebrate it every day of my life. So be strong, be stronger, be more absolute, and know that we, the people, are with you 100%.
Absolutely. If this was a war, which it is, how would you describe it as a general? At what point have we reached? I mean, I see the tide turning against tyrants worldwide. The problem is they're digging their heels in.
Well, the dumbing down of America was on the fast track, and it's come to fruition. When you've got, social movements based 100% on lies, the Black Lives Matter is the most embarrassing of all, and you've got so-called leaders like Barack Obama, whose entire career is based on a lie, and you've got Loretta Lynch literally committing glaring crimes in public, tampering with evidence in Orlando, and then you've got the poster child for Saul Alinsky's book dedicated to Satan and Hillary Clinton and the whole list of liberal Democrats. And horribly, Alex, so much of the Republican Party has just been a shadow of the freaks on the left. I believe that the culture war has finally awakened a we the people fist in this fight. I believe that the record numbers coming out for Donald Trump, who is anything but perfect, but compared to what the Democrats have put forth, a lying felon, criminal scam artist like Hillary Clinton and a communist, are you kidding me? Bernie Sanders actually had people show up and cheer him on. In the face of that absurdity, Donald Trump almost comes off as Michael the Archangel. So I see an awakening from this self-inflicted, embarrassing, soulless curse of apathy and disconnect. Finally, people in the asset column of America are realizing that we're being taken advantage of by this administration and this government and this media and academia. And I see a giant awakening out here. I'm on tour every day, all summer long. And what makes America strong is finally waking up. So I think the prognosis is better now than in the years that you and I have known each other. I bring you positive spirit, downright warrior effervescence on the not-so-mean streets of this country.
Absolutely. And folks know that I don't give people cheerleader reports. You don't either. You've come on the show for probably off and on for like 15 years. And, we've had some really negative, broadcasts where we admit how down we are. Not to be fear-mongering, not to be negative, but just to tell folks we're down in the ditch getting our asses kicked. But now we've gotten up and the enemy is getting their butt politically kicked. The problem is they're going to pull out the stops. And I want to talk about that with Ted Nugent of TedNugent.com. Also, of course, writes syndicated columns, so much more. Go see him on his sold-out tours when you can around the country. But Ted, I have the inside scoop from Fox from 3 different people that are currently there, one of them very high up. I knew about this about a year ago, 6 months ago, intensified. I knew it was coming about a week ago. Fake sexual harassment claims. Megyn Kelly saying, that Roger Ailes hugged her too hard 6 years ago. And this is some of the Murdoch people with Hillary basically trying to take over Fox. That's why Hannity and a bunch of others are threatening to leave. This is unprecedented that the Clinton machine and the Obama machine is literally threatening to fire Hannity and people behind the scenes if he talks about Bill Clinton's record with women. I mean, there's major censorship. For me, that's a bellwether of an attempted coup that's ongoing at Fox News right now. It really shows us that we're 2 minutes to midnight here. These people know they can't beat our information, so now they're trying to shut us up.
Well, we've seen that forever. I mean, I started this culture war, Alex, back in the 1960s when I was doing rock and roll radio interviews. And people, you know, the disc jockeys, the stoners in the music industry would ask me where all my piss and vinegar and fire and passion for the music comes from. And I'd explain that I was raised in the shadow of Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and Little Richard and James Brown and Wilson Pickett and celebrate those great black founding fathers. And then I would also insert how I just wrapped up a wonderful weekend with my dad and brothers and mom and sister in the deer hunting camp. And I was aim small, miss small, disciplined in the world of hunting and the outdoor lifestyle. And these people would freak out that I murdered innocent animals. I mean, the culture war started when the insanity of animal rights came to be. And then they find out that I carried a gun and that I believed in self-defense, and these hippies were aghast. I mean, they just began.
How dare you carry a gun when every free man in history carried a weapon?
So I was being attacked and condemned and ostracized for what can only be described as the perfect human responsibility of defending one's life and balancing the herds and eating venison. Those two elements, the hunting lifestyle and the Second Amendment, were the tip of the culture war spear when it started, because the hippies couldn't believe that I would kill an innocent animal.
And by the way, even folks that love you for decades and don't know the lore of Ted Nugent, I know a lot of it, and I don't mean to be kissing your butter, but it is cool to see how long ago you were basically doing what I've been doing for 20 years, 40, 50 years ago. It's just crazy, Ted.
It really was, and it struck me. You know, I pursed my lips and furrowed my brow, and I went, wait a minute. So you think I'm an idiot for not snorting cocaine and smoking dope, but that I should be jailed for and a Second Amendment participant? Really, that's the premise of your hate for me. So the Saul Alinsky machine work started running amok, and they would call me a racist and a homophobe and a draft dodger and an anti-Semite. You know, all the knee-jerk dishonesty from the left if they can't debate you. And of course, that the left cannot debate me because I'll eat their family tree and spit sawdust like I did on Texas Public Television and to our friend Pierce Morgan. And so they would immediately begin to attack me personally and claim that I can't play guitar and that I'm a homophobe when I actually am none of the things that they claim I am. So I take that as a badge of honor. But what you're seeing at Fox, what you're seeing from the unbelievable power of the Clinton machinery, these people can meet with Loretta Lynch and she can actually violate her oath to the Constitution and edit the tapes from the Orlando shooting 911 calls without a flinch, without any sense of accountability, knowing that she's immune from prosecution because the president hired her based on the color of her skin, not the content of her character. And that statement I just made alone will so infuriate the leftist, America-hating media and academia and the government punks and thugs that hate Ted Nugent and hate Alex Jones and hate the Constitution, hate freedom, hate the Pledge of Allegiance. They hate everything good about people, everything good about them. I could not be more proud.
And by the way, Ted Nugent, you're saying all this, it's just pure veritas. It's just, I think you're the only guest we have on where it's just all like absolute veritas. It's just every word is absolutely totally true. They have inverted reality. They're the most anti-liberal people. I think of liberal as Thomas Jefferson: more freedom, lower taxes, every person a right to defend themselves, maximum individual liberty. That's liberal. These people aren't liberal. I think it's time to really call them what they are. Just a bunch of scum and criminals and losers that want to control reality and run our lives. And I tell you, more and more of the grassroots so-called leftists are getting off the plantation. I really see that happening. But in your gut, what else are you really concerned about? Obviously, communists, Black Lives Matter, Obama refusing to repudiate them, saying, the cops need to reform themselves, implying the death of police is a good thing. I mean, I don't understand the disconnect. How does Obama think he's going to get away with starting the civil war in the country? Or do I have a blind spot? I mean, does he have a chance? What's he doing?
I don't think he has a chance. We see these isolated events of outrageous demonacy by the sniper in Dallas and the murder in Baton Rouge. Right after those horrific events attacking the heroes of law enforcement, Alex, I was with the Dallas Police Department. I happen to have trained with some of these guys, and I work with these guys. And just last night, we were in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I met with a bunch of the heroes of law enforcement there. But more importantly than those law enforcement warriors are the enormous crowds, the armies of we the people who stand with law and order and law enforcement. So I don't believe that even as a dishonest, America-hating, anti-constitutionalist that we have as the commander-in-chief, I don't believe that even the power that he has with all his communist buddies like Van Jones and Loretta Lynch and Valerie Jarrett, I don't think they're going to overwhelm we the people. It got close there for a while because of the apathy and the allowing of the dumbing down of America. But I hang with people every day, Alex. I have meetings every day with people with charities, children's charities, military charities, conservation charities, working hard, playing hard Americans that sacrifice and take risks.
And by the way,
so
statistics show,
column.
That's right, major studies in Canada and the UK show that conservatives and libertarians worldwide and Christians and patriots give 6 times more money than liberals and just do so much more good stuff. And that the left, again, is 6 times more likely to rob. I mean, the left are just criminals.
There's no question about it. But let me give you an example. I know a lot of people would just think that this is an isolated example, but I get it all the time. And if I was on the radio with you every day, I could give you a dozen examples like this every day, where an ultra-liberal radio guy, a disc jockey who I've been working with for about 40-plus years, we recently did an interview in Detroit, and during the interview, he said, "This is going to be very difficult for me, Ted, but I want to publicly state live on the air my apology to you, because I always ridiculed you and made fun of you and condemned you for your politics going back to the 60s and 70s and 80s. And I just want to publicly state that I was wrong and you were right. Now that I have woke up, now that I have educated myself to what is going on in our government and so much of the media and academia, that's the triad of power abuse and criminality, government, media, and academia. He apologized to me, and he's a liberal guy, Alex.
This amazing. Stay there. Final segment with Ted Nugent. I just realized something. Ted Nugent's like the original info warrior of the last century. By the way, this is my favorite guitar riff of all time, hands down. There is no debating it. That just the ass kicking or kissing contest just continues. But it's just true though. I mean, Ted Nugent is that good. He's been fighting the culture war for almost 50 years. That's hard to believe, isn't it? And the guy doesn't look like he's 55. He has been putting out some of the most savage music in the world for decade after decade. And I just love it when I'm driving down the road and hear his music, or I see a car commercial or a new hot movie coming out and it's Ted Nugent music. I mean, you know, and I've got myself a radio and TV show and a big crew. I mean, I got a wrecking crew. I got a rock and roll band too. And so we're all in this fight, kicking globalist commie ass. Ted Nugent, it is so awesome, man. You're right. We are winning. We are turning the tide, but it's going to get rough, my friend.
Well, let me tell you, every night when I play Stranglehold, the teeth and eyeballs that fill the audience is so inspiring. But let me tell you, since that song came out in 1975, I literally have gotten thousands of correspondence from military heroes from Delta Force and the Army Rangers and the Green Berets and all those special ops. These guys use the song Stranglehold to gear up to go into battle. And they tell me that whenever they listen to my music before they go into battle, they kill more bad guys. Now, is there a better testimony to meaningful music than that?
Well, I mean, it's like Beethoven, but rock. The way it just builds, and it's a perfect song. It's a perfect song.
Well, you should see it from where I see it every night. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
How did you come up? I mean, you've come up with so much incredible stuff, but how did you come up with that?
Well, first of all, I was raised in a hunting lifestyle, so that aim small, miss small ballistic ballet that you have to adhere to be a good deer hunter and to compete with my dad and my brothers at the firing range. I'm going to tell you, there's something about sight acquisition, breathing, and trigger squeeze that actually applies to guitar playing if you do it right. So every time I pick up, I play a Gibson Birdland, and this hand-carved arch-top jazz guitar made by American craftsmen in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It is the embodiment of what God wanted wood to be used for, and it has such a resonance, such a tapestry, such an unlimited topography of sounds and tones and voices that it feeds back and it makes these noises, and it forces you to hold it and cradle it and touch it in a certain way. And because I was raised by these black gods of thunder, the Howlin' Wolf and the Muddy Waters, and I was born in the shadow of Detroit's Motown funk brother gods of thunder, that all manifests itself in the way that I play guitar. And so that lick, it embodies so much of the human spirit of defiance, and not just the sexuality that is apparent to the rhythm and the grind of the rhythm section, but the volatility of the lyric. Here I come again now, baby.
But it does raise confidence. I'm sorry to interrupt. It does raise your confidence.
Well, I tell you, there's only one thing more dangerous than a sow grizzly with cubs, and that's Ted Nugent with more confidence. And since I play that song every night, I do believe that the Founding Fathers wanted everybody to be like me. That's what I believe.
Well, Ted, again, I think what you're saying here today is America's finding its spirit again, isn't it?
It really is. And I got to tell you, Alex, you travel, you're a gregarious guy, you hang with working hard, playing hard Americans, and I do every day. I'm in Naples, Florida today, and I'll be hanging out with 20 people tonight at the concert in Jacksonville, and tomorrow in Melbourne, and Pompano, and up in Clearwater, and Atlanta, and Mobile, and Bossier City, and Illinois. Every night I hang with people in the asset column. People who sacrifice so they're in the asset column.
It's amazing. 5 more minutes, Ted Nugent. We're back in 70 seconds. TedNugent.com. I'm Alex Jones, live from the RNC, Infowars.com. Back in 70 seconds with 5 more minutes with Ted Nugent. As much as I like Junior Brown on the steel guitar, I like Ted Nugent more, but I tell you, it's hard to, just to hear the human soul coming out, the individualism of these guitar players. I mean, I think the guitar, more than anything, really brings out the human soul. That's a whole another, entertainment radio show, but I think it's celebrating the fact that we're independent, we're individuals, and the way the left loves ugliness, the way they love poverty, the way they love, quite frankly, Ted, I'm not just saying this. I think at the end of the day, the left really are just Satanists. What do you think?
Honest, what Ben Carson said last night is being attacked for. Saul Alinsky did write the Bible for the left. It's literally what Valerie Jarrett genuflects to every time she writes words for Barack Obama. Barack Obama has been caught lying over and over again his entire life. Valerie Jarrett makes sure that his speeches are full of lies that feel good and will continue to enslave the sheep on the left. But that book, Rules for Radicals, the first page, Alex, it was dedicated to Satan, the great manipulator. And that's the author and the book that Hillary Clinton mentored under when she wrote her law degree thesis on Saul Alinsky.
Oh, yeah, she wrote him love letters, like letters back and forth with him, just totally sick.
So no, the media does not expose this important information, and they don't condemn the lies of Hillary and Loretta Lynch and Valerie Jarrett and Barack Obama and Van Jones and all their acorn scam artists and their Media Matters, MoveOn.org, Huffington Post, Southern Poverty Law Center scam artists and liars. So logically speaking, those of us in the asset column, we have to live by logic and common sense and practical, pragmatic, utilitarian accountability. You cannot find accountability in the government, in the media, or in academia. It's all a scam. So we're challenged to why. We can't answer the question why in a logical way. So we just have to admit what you asked about demonacy, about Satanism. That's the only answer. They hate success. They hate excellence. They hate productivity. They hate everything in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, so I couldn't be more proud. I don't want those punks to like me. I want them to be afraid of me.
Absolutely.
I want them to hate me. I want them to lie about me. I am so proud that the enemies of America hate Ted Nugent. I can hardly stand myself.
Well, you know, you are totally on target. It's a badge of honor to have these culture-destroying scum hate us, and it is a badge of honor. Family sometimes says, man, hundreds of newspapers attacked you this week. How are you taking it? And I'm like, the enemy newspapers that literally are undermining this country and promoting cop killing and all the rest of this crazy crap, they hate me. Thank God. If they like me, I've got a serious, serious problem. TedNugent.com. I mean, you've got so many millions of followers on Facebook, and there's so many other big websites. Where are the best places for people to stay in contact on a daily basis with everything Ted Nugent?
Well, I'll tell you, Alex, I am humbled at the tens of millions every day on my Facebook. I have a Ted Nugent official Facebook, and people come from all around the world to celebrate the self-evident truth of the American dream, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. I'm telling you, it is not a Ted Nugent thing. It is a people honesty thing. So my Facebook, I get on numerous times every day, and I have great communications about rock and roll and about politics and about quality of life and about logic and about goodwill and decency. So I am encouraged every day that more and more people are waking up to the scourge of what Obama represents, the scourge that the media represents, and I couldn't be more confident or proud right now.
Well, Ted, thank you so much for your time. I know we're both Central Texans, and so hopefully sometime I can go out hunting with you. That's always been something I wanted to do. But thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy, and I want to thank my audience for what they do, magnifying what InfoWars is up to, but also what you're doing, because now is the time to push it to the hilt, because the enemy is going to pull a lot of scams. Ted Nugent, thank you so much, sir.
Godspeed, Alex. You're on my blood, brother.